Ladies and gentlemen.
And we see a while ago the Clippers prepared for the task at hand. Welcome to the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan alongside Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr with Doris Burke on our sideline. We've got a chance now for our starting lineups from point guard to center. This game should be a good one. And guys, taking a look at Carl Landry, what will we see from him?
Well, Landry has just a big motor. He can play so hard as soon as he gets into the game that he makes a major impact on the game. He's relentless in his pursuit of offensive rebounds, and he's always going to fight you for the ball.
Yeah, you know, those offensive rebounds are always huge. You also need to be able to finish through contact if you're undersized, and Landry can do that too. He can get a guy up in the air, lean into him, and finish the play while earning a trip to the free throw line. This game in Sacramento marks the start of a homestand for the Kings. Last time they came together was in Los Angeles, where they fell to the Clippers. So far, no luck against this team. They dropped both of the games in the previous two matchups this season.
Kevin, that game defensively was an absolute nightmare. They went into that building and just got blown out by a very hot team.
Well, they didn't defend those shooters like they should have, and once the fans got into it and the arena started rocking and thumping and bumping, things only got worse.
The professor passes to Collison. 5 to shoot. Here's the professor. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. And what do you guys think about his comments after their last game?
Well, when you move to a new team, the hardest part of it is adjusting to your new teammates and how things might be different. I think he's taking the right approach here and trying to fit in with them instead of the other way around.
It's one of the strangest things a player can go through. You know, Clark, changing teams, all of a sudden you're in unfamiliar territory. You really don't understand the makeup of the team. And so it is important to just blend in and come in with a positive attitude. I think those were great sound bites from him. He's making an effort to make it work.
And the basket by Thomas.
But you can't leave him alone, especially from long range.
Look at the last game for Sacramento. It was a win against the Lakers in Los Angeles.
And one way to nullify a home court advantage, like they did that night, Kevin, light it up from the three-point line. Nothing is more demoralizing to a home crowd.
Steve, you're exactly right. I mean, that was the great equalizer. Their perimeter play definitely took them over the top.
And it's the Kings with the ball. After the basket by Los Angeles. Shoots. It's rebounded by the professor.
It was a nice season for former Indiana Pacer Darren Collison last year. Acquired by the Mavs, he stepped into the starting role and responded fairly well. He's picked up a couple of quick fouls here. I think he's pressing. He's got to settle down a bit.
And for Collison last season, he shot the ball well and upped his rate of scoring and assists.
And it's the increase in assists that encourages me, Kevin. He's not a dynamic playmaker, but I think he's becoming a solid one. And with his quickness and shooting, he really just needs to be more of a point guard, more of a distributor to reach his full potential.
And Baamute's checked in for John Selmans.
Hey, I think we all knew that the Clippers were good last year, but we really took notice when they rattled off those 17 wins in a row in December. That was a franchise record, which had previously been 11, and that's when the league really took notice.
And there's DeMarcus Cousins on the assist by Thomas. Cousins has got his first basket of the night.
Fantastic pass. He turned that one into a pretty easy basket for his teammate.
The professor passes to Collison. Here's the professor. Doubled by Thornton. Crawford outside. Off the mark there with the three-point shot. Well, it was the year of the win streak last season with Miami doing what they did and Denver getting hot as well. But, you know, Steve, the Clippers had the first lengthy win streak and turned some heads earlier in the season.
Yeah, what was that, about 17 games in a row they won? And I thought that kind of established the Clippers in the West, put a little fear in the rest of the conference, and gave L.A. a swagger that I thought helped them get through the rest of the season.
And, you know, for the Kings, with a new ownership group, a new coach, a new front office, and a new downtown arena on the horizon, it's exciting times for the Kings fans and a lot of newfound optimism around this team, too.
Here's the professor. Turned in an outstanding game against New York. Thomas against Collison. The professor passes to Collison. Some nice ball movement by the Clippers. There's Crawford with the three. And again, it's the Clippers missing. And the Kings, a team that experienced a period of great success in the 90s, back the late 90s and early this century. But they had undergone a 7-year playoff drought, and Steve, times had gotten pretty dire.
Well, there's a lot of change in the air in Sacramento this season with new ownership, new management, coaching, and some young talent with Ben McLemore. So I think there's hope going forward for the Sacramento Kings.
Griffin is doing amazing things on the court and off the court. I mean, his charisma and sense of humor really have made him one of the more marketable players in the entire league.
So he makes 1 of 2 as the second one misses. Going back to Griffin, he spent a summer interning with an LA-based comedy website, I'm reading, Ed. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a love for comedy, and, playing in LA, that's a great opportunity for him to work on the entertainment side of things. And, of course, he does have a real job with the Clippers. He's got to focus there.
He does. But those commercials he's in are fun.
They are good.
Really good. And Cousins gets it to go.
Well, something special about him, guys, is just how good he is at winning the so-called second shot game, going hard to the offensive glass, salvaging points with his putbacks.
And he really is a tough guy to go up against because he throws his weight around so often and with reckless abandon. I mean, it can really wear you down physically.
Crawford kicks to Griffin. Pass to the professor. Buries it from three-point range. The professor's got 9.
That's one way he can finish, but not the only way. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Let's catch up with Doris from the sideline.
Kevin, I briefly spoke with Doc Rivers. This is a team that loves to run, and he wants to see them do what they love. Fast break basketball should be on the menu today, guys. We'll enjoy watching it.
And as always, Doris, thank you. And it's a completely new group for Los Angeles. So it's Sacramento. They trail by 1. 3-pointer. Rebounded by Dudley. Looking at Los Angeles, they took the win in their last game against New York.
And, Kevin, what got them that win was the remarkable success they had from the floor. Their shooting was just tremendous.
Steve, you're a great shooter, but that kind of shooting is not something the team is going to get on a nightly basis. But when you do get it, boy, does it feel good.
Now Vasquez, after the missed 3 from Barnes. Kicks it to Dudley. Dishes it to Barnes. He passes to Bullock. It's good from long range. Bullock's got his first 3 points of the game.
Boy, I tell you what, he loves getting looks like that from the three-point line. No one near him. That's a warm-up jumper for him.
There's 49 seconds left in the first quarter. Again, the miss by the Kings.
Major defensive lapse right there. I mean, he's not a player you can leave open for a jump shot. You've got to stay attached to him. They're lucky he couldn't punish them for it.
And here's Barnes for 3, and another 3 for the Clippers.
How about the passing? They are moving the ball without any thought, without any agenda.
It's hard to overstate all the points they've scored on assists today. Beautiful to watch.
Now here's Vasquez. Quiet so far offensively, searching for his first points of the game. 20 seconds left here in the first quarter. And Waynes kicks to Barnes. The feed now to Mullins. Patterson's there. Baseline try. Mullins, no good.
The defense needs to play tight on him, and that's exactly what they did to force that miss. Well done.
And we reached the end of the first quarter. Clippers lead.
Single game tickets.
All right, the Kings trail by 7.
Yeah, guys, did you know that the Clippers winning the Pacific Division last year was the first time it's ever happened? Yeah, you heard it right.
Good point, Clark.
That's the first time the Clippers have ever won the Pacific Division.
And the Clippers, looking at who they've got, a professor, he's in at 3. Griffin is out there with Barnes. Then there's Malik Waynes. And it's Green in at the 2 spot. The professor, an easy 2 points on the layup. The professor's got 11 points. And what a time to be a Clipper fan these days, guys, with the way they've climbed to the very top of the Pacific Division. And, Steve, they've done it by beating up on the rest of the teams in that Pacific.
Well, Golden State gave them some trouble, Kevin, but otherwise they really rolled against the rest of the Pacific Division. And I'll tell you, it became clear within a few months last season that the Clips were going to run away with the Pacific. And a long time coming for Clipper fans.
And the professor picks up the foul. That'll be his second foul of the game. We're just over 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Here's Vasquez. That's in there. Thomas with the assist. Vasquez has got his second bucket of the game to go.
Well, they really started to come on here in the second.
Playing much better here, guys, and it looks like they're starting to make up some ground. We'll see if that can continue.
And there's the call on Selmans. And that'll be his third foul so far.
Tough break for the defense. He took the heat and drew the whistle.
Yep, but when you get there late, that's what happens.
Darren Collison. He's checked in for Malik Williams. The professor passes to Griffin. Green. Misses the three. Collison against Thomas. Thompson outside. Back to Thomas. This one for three. Another three for Sacramento.
That's 2 straight quick three-pointers they've allowed.
They better not make it 3 straight, because now all of a sudden you're looking at a hot streak.
And Doris Burke has a report for us from the sideline.
Well, guys, the professor in the last outing against the Knicks was superb. He finished with 51 points, but also put up 4 boards. Numbers like that make you anxious to see what he can do next time out.
Thanks, Doris, for revisiting what was an astounding performance, Clark.
It clearly was one of those games that when we look back on his career, this game will be right there among the best ever that he's played.
Well, he was in the zone from the outset. It was just one of those games where he was feeling it. Everything was going his way, and he attacked, and that's what I like. Once he knew it was his night, he just attacked relentlessly.
Vasquez dishes to Cousins. Near the three-point line, it's Thomas, and there are the Kings with another bucket.
And he's starting to pick things up here after a tough first quarter.
You know, with the troubles he's had butting heads with coaches and others, you might wonder why the team keeps putting up with Cousins' antics. Well, I'll tell you why. The greater your talent, the longer your rope, because this kid does have talent.
Jamal Crawford, he's checked in for Willie Green. Three from the inbound. The shot's good from the professor. The professor's got 16 points. And Clark, you mentioned Cousins' problems. There were some rumblings last season that the Kings might look to trade him, Steve, and I think there would be some teams that would say, you know what, this is a quality guy that maybe needs a new environment.
I think teams would be very interested in him. The question is, how much would they be willing to give up? Because it is a bit of a risk, not knowing exactly what you're getting, but Cousins, an intriguing talent. There's no doubt about that.
And there's a whistle that goes on Luke, Richard, and Bahamute. That is his first foul of the game. Marcus Thornton is checked in for Vasquez. Here's the professor. He's got 16. And it is flushed down with a nice jam.
And I'll say this about him, Kevin. I mean, it looks like he's made of rubber sometimes because defenders just bounce off him when he's driving the lane. What a finisher.
And you know what else I like about him, Steve? He'll do whatever it takes to help that team out. We've seen him take some absolutely gut-wrenching charges that a lot of other guys would simply avoid.
Terrific play right there. Great strength to finish through the hit.
That's how you do it, the bump and the bucket.
The Kings have gone 2 for 2 in the game at the line. That one drops. He ties it up.
There's no question the big news for the Sacramento Kings is they're still the Sacramento Kings. After a nail-biting last couple of years, they saw the team flirt with moving to Virginia, Anaheim, Las Vegas, Seattle. Finally, a new ownership group committed to keeping the team in Sac.
You know, he started out hot, and he's only gotten hotter. He could be in for one of those games.
Sacramento's gotten half their shots from three-point range to go down in the second quarter. 3 of 6 from downtown. Thomas kicks to Cousins. Little turnaround. Here's Landry, and that one is good with the extra effort on the glass. Landry's got his 3rd basket of the night right there. Pass to the professor. from 10 feet out. Misses off the left eye. And for all the Kings fans, what a great victory. Former three-time NBA All-Star and Sacramento native son, Mayor Kevin Johnson, instrumental in securing financing for the new arena, and Steve campaigning with the league's owners to keep the team in Northern California.
I think it surprised everyone, Kevin. Seattle made such a strong bid. I think most people felt the team would end up in Seattle, but Johnson did his job. Sacramento stepped up to the plate. I think it's great that the Kings get to keep their team, and hopefully Seattle will end up with one in the next couple of years.
He's made all 6 of his tries at the line so far.
You know, he's been getting it done so far at the line in this one.
Yeah, making use of the free throw line, knocking them down time and again.
And, you know, with those numbers, he makes a defender hesitant to get too tight on him. I mean, he doesn't want to get whistled for the foul and put this guy on the line.
Cousins with a screen on Collison. Thomas goes in, and foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. It's going to be on Blake Griffin. Sacramento is shooting their 6th and 7th free throws in the game.
And they're right around 74% as a team from the free throw line at this point of the season.
You know, their percentages dropped off just a little bit compared to last year, guys, but it's not a huge drop-off, so no major concern.
The shot's good from the professor. The professor's got 25 points. Guys, what a wild first half this has been.
I'd say, 8 lead changes, that speaks for itself.
Yeah, back and forth start for sure. This game is setting up to be awfully competitive.
Second quarter ends in a tight one. Clippers ahead. They lead by a bucket. Folks, stay tuned for the halftime show at Damon Bruce for all the highlights from our first half.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
The weekend is finally upon us, and on this Friday night, it's time for the halftime show. The Los Angeles Clippers in front against the Kings in Sacramento. They've come out of the gates strong to start and looking to keep going. Who's been all over the court? The professor. He hasn't let up tonight following the win against the New York Knicks. His shooting percentage off the charts right now. He's got the magic touch from the field, no question about it. On the other hand, Sacramento also giving it their best. And give them credit defensively. They're boxing out, controlling their defensive backboards. Isaiah Thomas getting it done through 2 quarters. Consistent shooting from the field, making well over 65% of his shots. Not a lot of guys put up a half a basketball like that. That'll be all for us here at the studios as we head back to the start of the 3rd quarter with Kevin, Steve, Clark, and Doris. Thanks so much for joining me.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
We have a close ball game on our hands as we get set for the second half of basketball.
Talk about complete control. Everything working in this one for the professor. 25 points, and from downtown, he's buried 3 3-pointers.
Yeah, when he's been able to get squared up and get a good look at the basket, it seems like everything's been going in.
Thomas and Thornton pairing up in the backcourt. Landry and Cousins patrol the paint, and it's Mbah a Moute in at the 3 spot. That's the group for Mike Malone getting going here in the second half. And then Cousins with the dunk. There it is, guys, that away defense. Just watching him go Clark right by.
I think we might be seeing which team is ready to take control of this game.
Yeah, that's a dunk that could absolutely get them going. I agree, Clark.
Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with Doris Burke. Hey, Doris.
Gentlemen, Jamal Crawford's patented shake and bake crossover, one of the flashiest moves in the league. A behind-the-back crossover followed by a hop step the other direction. He said it was created out of fear. At 16 years old, in the Seattle Pro-Am League, he'd been locked up by an older player, held to only 2 points. He faced him again in the Pro-Am All-Star game, unleashed the move impromptu, and it worked so well, he decided he had to master it. Guys, it's been one of his calling cards ever since.
That's right, Doris. Thanks.
He definitely keeps defenses on their toes.
The difference between being a dominant or a good team and mediocrity is the ability to win on the road. The Clippers secured their spot as one of the NBA's elite teams last season because they showed the ability to get it done on the road.
Clock at 4. Thomas passes Delaney. The shot misses. Griffin with some nice D. To the inside. Collison. The finger roll finish at the bucket. And it's a 6-point Clipper lead.
And their offense is flowing. It's clicking right now at the beginning of the second half. They've made 3 of their first 4 attempts.
Thomas goes in, and there's DeMarcus Cousins on the assist by Thomas. Thomas got 4 assists in the game. And the Clippers with one of the better road records in the Western Conference last year, going 24-17. Steve actually tied for the second most road wins in the West, only behind the Thunder.
And believe it or not, Kevin, it's the first time the Clippers franchise has ever had a winning record on the road. Actually, I do believe that when you think back to Clipper history. But I'll tell you what, it's a team on the rise and a very interesting club to watch.
Here's what Sacramento's going with right now. Patterson comes in for Carl Landry. And Travis Outlaw subbed in for Mbamute.
Sacramento really had a lot of problems finding consistency game to game, and it showed up when they would have to take on other teams in the West. Just didn't look quite as cohesive and as desperate to win as the rest of the conference, and that ends up costing you games.
Both free throws good from the professor. Well, Clark, as you said, the Kings struggled against the West, really against Western teams not in their division. They would play the division tough, but didn't do much against, Steve, the other two Western divisions.
Well, they only won 14 games against the rest of the conference, which was the fewest of any team in the West last year. But of those 14 wins, 7 came against the Pacific. So that's kind of interesting when you look at the disparity between their wins. Well, there's plenty to like about him as a player, but one thing that really stands out is his quick trigger. He can catch the ball in space, defenders all over him, but in an instant, lets that shot go, and he is accurate.
And what I love about watching him play, Steve, is his terrific agility and body control. Even with the multiple defenders closing in, he can torch his body at angles that really give him a chance to make shots from weird positions all the time.
And the professor picks up the foul. That will get him his 4th foul of the game.
Yeah, he had not established position.
I prefer the refs to whistle at a block when in doubt. I thought that was a good call there.
A different look for the Clippers. Byron Mullins comes in for DeAndre Jordan. And Nat Barnes is subbed in for Blake Griffin. Salmons dishes to Thornton. Launches it. Gets it to go. Thornton's got 5 points now in the quarter.
You know what, guys? He can really light it up from the perimeter at times.
You look at Marcus Thornton out of LSU, 6'4", a scoring guard. He can really light it up in a hurry off the bench.
He's played an important role in their offense today, guys. Without him, they may not be in the league.
Second half here. We're just over 3.5 minutes into it. Back to Thomas. Some nice ball movement here by the Kings. And that's a foul called on Chuck Hayes. That's his first foul. And the Clippers making a change here. Jordan's checked in. Here's Crawford. He's been patient so far. Nothing yet on the scoreboard. Doubled by Salmons. Here's Jordan. The shot is off. Nice D from Thompson. And for Thornton, a second rounder back in 2009. His size does hurt him defensively, but you'd have to say he's exceeded expectations, Clark.
I think so, Kevin. He surprised a lot of people with his ability to provide instant offense. He is pretty locked in with tunnel vision offensively. He's myopic now at that end of the floor. He's thinking about getting the ball and scoring the ball. But in his role, I think he's perfect for it.
And let's now go to the sideline. We'll catch up here with Doris Burke. Doris?
Hi, gentlemen. For the Sacramento Kings, a lot of rookies, and not just among the players. A new first-time majority owner, a new rookie GM, and Mike Malone, a first-time head coach. New blood taking over. But for all three, extensive experience in assisting roles, whether assistant coach, assistant GM, or minority ownership. So, guys, despite being new to the lead role, none of them lack for experience.
Thanks, Doris. We'll see how they do. So, for the Clippers, DeMarcus Cousins, he's checked in for Hayes. And Carl Landry has subbed in for Jason Thompson.
For so long, the Clippers were on the bottom rung of the ladder in the West, almost were a joke in the conference, but their fortunes have changed dramatically in the past few years, and now they're a team that's respected and feared. They're not as aggressive from the outside here, but maybe they should think about stretching the defense a little bit, like they did in the first half. I mean, stretching the defense makes it easier to score inside, too.
Here's the professor, and you can count it. He'll go to the line with a chance to make it 3. Well, Clark, you said the Clippers have really flipped the Western Conference upside down over the last few years, and you're right. They have done it with you know, Steve, styled, to say the least. You know, they've got now also a very deep team.
Well, a 35-17 record against the West was enough to secure them their division and advantage in the first round. You have to remember, too, that they were without some of their big stars last season. So if they can stay healthy and really take advantage of what they have, this could be a lot of fun.
And Thornton kicks to Landry. Landry gets the screen from Cousins. He got right to the cup using that screen. Landry's got 9 points.
Give an assist there, not for the pass, but for the solid screen set on the inside that freed him up and made the layup possible.
Gets the bucket. 23 seconds left to play in the third. Now Vasquez. He has 5. Cousins with a screen on Collison. Vasquez with it, working on Collison. So he gets the whistle, contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up. The Kings have shot 6 of 7 at the line. Free throw good, Vasquez. And the Kings making a change here. And Vasquez drops them both. 6 seconds left in the third. It'll count. And the release was before the buzzer, but it's off target. The points coming in bunches as we wrap up the third quarter. It's been a good one. Clippers lead by 9. Don't go anywhere. The final quarter is coming up next on 2K Sports.
Tune in next Sunday, December 1st.
Well, welcome back as we get set to start the fourth. And some stats here, guys. The scoring breakdowns for the Clippers.
Guys, the passing we've seen from them has been tremendous. Very unselfish.
And they continue to knock down the long-range three-point shot as well.
And here's a quick look at how the Clippers' schedule is shaping up. Next up will be a home game matched up against the Pacers. That game will be a quick pit stop before hitting the road again. The Kings trail by 9. All right, now a chance to set the floor courtesy of Gatorade. Fourth quarter action, all fueled up and ready to go. Taking a look at Los Angeles. Blake Griffin down low and DeAndre Jordan. Collison is out there with Crawford. And it's the professor in at the 3 slot. That's good. Here is Thomas. He kicks it to Cousins. He dishes it to Vasquez. Feeds to Landry. Pass to Salmons. They get it back. Cousins. And there's 2 points. Working on the glass, paying off that time.
Well, that's how you pick up second chance points. Stay active, be energetic, and react as soon as the shot goes up.
Here's the professor. The kick out to Collison. There's the pass to the professor. It is now to Crawford. Some nice ball movement by the Clippers. 6 on the shot clock. And it's the Clippers scoring again.
This work at the offensive end has been phenomenal. Maybe reason number 1, they're ahead.
Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
During that break, Coach Mike Malone had some words for his team. He is not pleased with the score and implored them to try to make a push right now, saying, "We don't have time, fellas. If we can't make a dent soon, I'll have to pull the plug." Pretty blunt, Kevin. Back to you.
Thomas goes in. Thornton for 3. No good. So Los Angeles will take it the other way. Here's the professor. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
Well, we knew the Pacific was tough last year's division. They sent 3 teams to the playoffs, and it's one reason why the Kings ended up just above the Suns in the division. Hard to make a lot of headway when you're the 4th best team in your state.
So he gets them both. Well, as you said, tough California teams, Clark, populating the Pacific, but the Kings actually did well against them. Better than, in fact, you would expect considering how far apart their win totals were.
Yeah, not bad. Kings went 7-9 in the division. Of course, Phoenix really struggled last year, and that was part of it. The Lakers had a down season as well, but you know, all in all.
The rim is shaking.
Tell you what, he's going to put that one in his scrapbook. Absolutely insane with that dunk.
Well, now they're starting to rub it in, aren't they? Have build up a lead, and here we go, folks. It's showtime.
And why not? I mean, the more plays they make like that, the more they'll have these guys on the ropes.
And here is Thomas. Salmons kicks to Thomas. Sacramento again missing. Clippers leading by 15. The professor passes to Collison. And stolen by Thomas. And yes, sir, that one drops.
He has shot the ball well, but it has not been contagious. His teammates, they haven't had the same groove, and that's why we're looking at this result so far.
Vasquez is checked in for Sacramento. Here's the professor. That is good. The professor's got 44.
Now he's playing with an edge here, playing extremely well offensively here in the second half.
Clark, some tough offensive sets. They want to turn it around.
Yeah, they need a basket just to regain some momentum here, Kevin. There was just enough defensive pressure to get him off balance and cause that shot to go around. It's basically been all him. I mean, he scored most of the points himself.
Now here's Vasquez. He's covered by Collison. From deep, Thornton. The shot's good. Vasquez making the play. Vasquez has got his 4th assist in this one. The Clippers have gotten every shot they've taken so far in the field.
Wow. Now, that was an incredible reverse throwdown right there. Tremendous body control.
I'd even go as far to say, Clark, that was a punctuation dunk. Huh?
I can feel that.
Sending a message.
Yes, sir.
A message and put it on the highlight reel for later.
Salmons gives him a lead pass. And the jam by Carl Andrew.
Wow, he sure can make up for that lack of size and height because of his leaping ability.
They can take their time on this possession.
You know, guys, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, gives themselves a little break, too.
Catch the breath.
Yeah. Excellent communication between teammates on the alley-oop there.
And that's what you need to pull that off.
Well, both ends of that play, just fantastic.
The Kings trail by 16. Vasquez gets a screen from Cousins. With the teardrop. Vasquez, that's good.
They can't afford to give him that kind of look.
Well, it came off a good screen, but still, as a defender, you got to fight over the top of that.
And the jam by Carl Andrew.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere to slam that one back there.
Well, that's making him pay for letting him get his hands on that rebound.
Is it ever, Kevin?
Here's the professor. He feeds it to Crawford. Pass to the professor. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. Free throw good from the professor.
They got to keep fighting their way to the line, guys. This half, it's been nothing but success for them there.
And their confidence has to just continue to go up the longer their perfection continues.
And the Kings making a change here. Thomas is checked in. Both free throws good from the professor. 1:37 left to play in the final quarter. Thomas against Collison. Cousins with a screen for Thomas. Inside to Landry. He is held in by Los Angeles. 17 points was their biggest margin. Collison with it. Now Thomas defending. Here's the professor. And he was fouled in the act of shooting. Chance here now for a three-point play.
They've got to continue to put pressure on the defense by probing inside. That's what's really working for them.
And when you're doing the job they are inside, it takes pressure off the perimeter guys. You know, DeAndre Jordan last year led the league in field goal percentage at 64%, but that was a percentage that was better than his free throw percentage. You want to get that flip, and hopefully Jordan will be able to do that.
Kicks it to Cousins. Shot clock at 6. The turnaround jumper, and Jordan with the block. Here's the professor. Off his leg, and they're saying he kicked the ball. And for DeAndre Jordan, it's strange. His shooting motion at the line looks good, but Steve, last year just 38% from the strike.
Well, it's got to be mental, Kevin, because you watch the way he shoots. You know, it's not a beautiful stroke, but it's not broken by any means. I think it's all about finding a way to be comfortable at the free throw line. Some players never reach that point.
Well, the Kings gave up the most points in the league last season, guys, but new coach Mike Malone has a great reputation as a defensive mind. He's shown that as an assistant with the Hornets and the Warriors. And in both cases, he helped those teams get better defensively. They're expecting him to do the same thing with the Kings.
Outside Thomas. Outlaw. That's good. And it's Thomas picking up the assist.
Can't pass up that kind of look.
Here's Williams. The shot's good from the professor.
They didn't take their time wrapping this game up. They pretty much did it in a hurry.
Yeah, they had a nice spurt to finish this one.
So the Clippers winning this one easily. They put on a show tonight, thoroughly controlling each end of the floor.
Hey, what more can you ask?
Thank you for joining us for this presentation of the NBA on 2K Sports. For Clark, Stephen Doris, and the rest of the crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Last but not least, here is your Jordan Player of the Game, the Professor.
Wonder if I take you there. Would you believe in fairy tales? Oh, a place where no one feels the pain, living without suffering. Roads are paved by loving hands, energy from turning fans.